Welcome back, everyone, to Fallout Equestria. I'm feeling a lot better now, so I figured I'd get the next chapter out. I forgot to do fucking face cam shit. Oh well.
My robotic prize wrapped in a magical field and floating next to me. I stopped as I met up with Zenith, and I stared at the vault door beneath the darkened sign reading Isolation. The terminal next to the sealed door was glowing softly. The little pony in my head pranced with eager curiosity.
We're still in the creepy hospital, right? You know, the one with the rape tentacles? I mean, it's been a week, so I kind of forgot. But a hospital with rape tentacles and a vault. Oh, I know the CMC had good intentions and like they probably had no like plan for this, but all I could think of is actual vault tech from Fallout and how they would totally make a vault like this because they're evil bastards. I don't think that was like the CMC like did anything like that, but I could just think of vault tech from the main Fallout games and how fucked they were. Oh.
It would only take a minute after all. I hooked my hacking tool into it and I went to work. The door clanged internally and slid open. Inside was a small room with filing cabinets, a desk, a glowing terminal, and a huge reinforced window which looked into a slightly larger chamber. The chamber had a single operating table positioned below a ceiling-mounted robotic medical array. A spider-like mass of arms holding scalpels, bone saws, and torturous-looking medical tools protruded down towards the form still strapped to the table. It was one of those flesh horrors. Only this one was dead already, the flesh putrescent. Its
Thank
tongues had been
God.
severed, its body sliced open and partially dissected. There was one other difference. Stretched and distorted over the rear of this aberration's mutated flesh was the deformed remnants of a cutie mark. I heard some pony gasp in horror. I think it was me. The observation room was virtually untouched by the centuries. The quake from the megaspell had cracked the window, but it had held. The paint on the walls was peeling. The ceiling sagged a little, covered in spiderweb cracks. The room beyond, however, was missing a corner. The ragged edges suggested massive water damage. I wondered if this was caused by the split in the pipes above the nurse's station, but there was similar damage to many parts of the building. I approached the room's terminal and hacked into it. There was one audio file still remaining. The others had all been corrupted or purged. I asked it to play, and a mayor's voice, a ghost from the past, came from an overhead speaker. This is Sunny Days, Mayor Pony Consultant to the Ministry of Arcane Science. It is now 2 days since the accident that ended Peachy Pie's life as we knew it.
Not Peach
18 hours
Pie.
since I had to order the brainstem of this thing severed. Previous attempts to put the creature down through lethal injection proved futile. Even now we are still reading life signs. This thing just does not want to die. But there is no brain function anymore, and hopefully the rest of the body will get the hint. I've ordered the autopsy halted until then. I take comfort in knowing that my childhood friend died 2 days ago, and that there was nothing left of her in this abomination. I finally managed to get an audience with Ministry Mayor Twilight Sparkle. I have learned that the Ministry of Arcane Science is using my old facility to craft something called the Impelled Metamorphosis Potion. According to Twilight, this IMP will likely be the deciding factor in the war. It is clearly her hope that through magical augmentation we can bring the war to a swift conclusion. The Zebras have been engaging in mystical and alchemical augmentations for years now, and it sounds to me like the Ministry of Arcane Science is determined to beat them at their own game. I questioned Ministry Mayor Twilight Sparkle about the contents of the barrels now being stored in the caverns underneath Splendid Valley. She revealed that these barrels contain effectively the very same transformative magical brew that the Ministry of Arcane Science is testing for use on pony volunteers. According to the Ministry Mayor, the process for creating IMP is an extremely delicate and demanding task. And apparently, her standards are even more so. Any batch that is flawed in any way, any batch that is not absolutely optimal, is sealed up and discarded. In Twilight Sparkle's own words, if she is going to ask ponies to trust their bodies to IMP-induced transformation, how could she dare give them anything but the most perfect version of the potion possible? The Ministry Mayor was absolutely horrified to hear of the accident, and appalled as I told her what happened to Peachy Pie. She put a strict moratorium on my further attempts to move the barrels. It looked like the Ministry Mayor Fluttershy is going to have to find a different avenue of negotiation with the Diamond Dogs. Personally, at this point, I'm tempted to just start shooting them. I know that's horrible of me, but I've just spent 2 days seeing the best friend I ever knew reduced to something worse than any nightmare, and all because we're trying to appease a bunch of dogs. The worst part is that part of me blames Peachy Pie. She shouldn't have been down there. She'd come to work sick the last 4 mornings. I told her to take sick leave. Practically ordered her to. But she could never stand by doing nothing. Part of me wonders if she slipped, or if her judgment was just slightly impaired. And I hate myself for asking that. She deserves much better. Peachy Pie was the best friend any pony could ever have. Her husband is outside. He wants to see the body, but I have no idea what to tell him. All I know is that I can't, absolutely can't let him see this. I stumbled out of the isolation room and collapsed against the wall, breathing heavily. "Little Pip?" Zenith asked, her voice deep with concern. She had heard Sunny Day's recording too, and I could see the sadness in her eyes and hear it in her voice. But she didn't know what I knew, didn't realize what I did. She could tell the recording was affecting me far more than it did her, even if she could not sense the revelation behind it. "Taint, on the other hoof," Homage had said as DJ Pony, "is a zebra of very different stripes. No pony knows exactly what the taint is or where it comes from, but we know its mutative effects on monsters and the fatally malignant repercussions on ponies."
Shit, I get it. Fucking Twilight.
I knew what taint was. I knew where it came from. I know that as you travel, as you poke your nose into places and memories, you're going to hear things or learn things about my Twi. Spike had warned me painfully. Taint was IMP, Impelled Metamorphosis Potion. This was Twilight Sparkle's other legacy. But that wasn't being fair. Twilight Sparkle had been a good pony with a good heart. Of course, the MAS hub in Manhattan had been working on a spell to clean Taint, and it was no longer a surprise that they had been successful with every pony since, like that insane ghoul doctor, had failed. Twilight Sparkle knew exactly what Taint was, after all. She knew every component that went into it. And after what happened to Peachy Pie, she was not going to be content to just leave that.
The fact is that, okay, I think I brought this up before. I forgot what I was going to say. What are the words? I'm still a little sick, guys. So I'm not completely here mentally, just mostly here mentally. So, but I'm still a little slow because my nose is stuffed up and I have to breathe through my mouth but it's still her fault. She's doing good work to make up. Well, she did try to do good work to make up for the potential faults, but it's still her fault. Blame. Yeah, she should be blamed, but the blame needs to be proportional to what she does to fix it. I hate tropes that are eternally repentant for something you did in the past, because eventually you're going to make up for it. I can't think of any stuff off the top of my head, even though I know there's a bunch of examples about guys who did something bad and tried constantly to make it up, even though in my head they already made it up. But at the same, man, I don't know. I'm having a hard time expressing what I want to say.
A kind of dangerous magical toxin in barrels underground. She was working on cleaning it up. Of course, the gardens of Equestria would include the spell to purge Taint from the land. I suspected that Twilight Sparkle would have created the taint-purging megaspell and set it off over Splendid Valley, just as soon as pony testing of IMP had proven successful.
The only variable is, well, dosage.
Twilight Sparkle's words floated back to me. The IMP experiment at Maripony required a very tightly controlled dosage. Who knew what the effects of too little would be? The deep itch that had now spread through my entire torso told me I would likely soon learn.
But that was when they discovered that Twilight's magical byproducts, shall we say, have started eating through the barrels.
Rarity had told Rainbow Dash.
Sunny lost a pony trying to move them when several tore open like they were made of nothing but the covering paint.
Oh shit!
That horror, on the other side of that window, was what became of any pony who suffered massive exposure. If that creature had been created from a few barrels, I was thankful I'd never seen Trixie herself inside that vat. But, if you got it just right, that was how Trixie was creating the alicorns. I wondered how long it had taken her to find the correct amount, and how many failed experiments had she cannibalized before she struck on the perfect dose. My eyes went to the hole in the corner of the far chamber. Peachy Pie had been sick each morning for days. The medical equipment was still picking up anomalous signs of life after the creature should have been dead. I knew where the other horrors had come from. Zenith and I galloped all the way back to the roof. I slammed the door,
I mean, we figured out that part
panting.
early.
We got what we came for.
Velvet Remedy was looking decidedly bad, but I thanked the goddesses that she was conscious. Calamity stood at the edge of the building, looking down. I noticed his helmet in his mouth. He had run across and gotten it. That meant... I looked at the building across from us. All the hellhounds were gone. The antenna array was smashed to pieces. I crept to the edge, a glance first to the Griffin Chaser 2. It still looked like a mess, but I could see the work Calamity had done. Calamity set down his helmet. In case y'all missed it, they're just telling us to surrender. Looking down, I saw hellhounds surrounding the building, some carrying energy weapons. A few dozen carried torches. Most were armed only with their claws. Standing on a dilapidated wagon was one particularly large female hellhound holding a megaphone.
Oh! Is that who
You
I
come
think it is?
down now,
She barked, her voice carrying.
final chance.
I had really hoped we could treat Calamity's wing and Velvet Remedy's leg here, but that was no longer an option. Come on, Calamity. Let's go. I don't get why they ain't swarmed us yet. Grimly, I answered.
I do. And trust me, you are much happier not knowing.
He turned from the edge, picking up his helmet again and walking towards Velvet Remedy. His eyes looked older than they had the day before.
It's not your fault.
Velvet Remedy insisted to the Pegasus as
Yes,
he laid
it
down
is.
next to her.
Yes, it is.
He set down the helmet and nuzzled the charcoal alicorn. Yes, it is. I'm the one who was getting his
Wait,
wing
what?
shot.
What?
And I'm the one who wanted to snap the hellhounds. Y'all faced all this shit helping me. And I ain't never gonna forget that. Not ever. Suddenly, the whole building shook. A thunderous rending boiled up from beneath us. A massive fissure tore across the roof a few yards back from the south side edge, and the entire southern wall of the hospital collapsed in a monstrous roar. Luna eclipsing orgasms. The goddess-damned hellhounds were taking out the fucking foundations. Out of time, every pony, I shouted as I climbed onto the Griffin Chaser 2 and tried to figure out how to operate the Earth Pony contraption. Thankfully, it seemed rather simple. While the mechanics used a spark battery augmented assist, the whole thing was basically pedal-powered. And Zebra, I added. Gather together. We're leaving. More of the building began to collapse.
I kind of wonder why
The roof canted,
Hellhounds
and the
didn't do
Griffin
that
Chaser 2
originally
began
to
to
get
slide
rid of
towards the
those
ragged
things,
edge.
but yeah.
I
I'm sure there
everyone
was a
else in the
reason.
field of magic, making sure to include the medical bot, Velvet Remedy's leg, Calamity's helmet, and Zenith's sack of medicines, and I started to pedal as hard as I could. The gears and belts and chains of the Griffin Chaser 2 squealed in protest. The blades began to spin. With a horrendous rumble, the hospital roof fell away beneath us, the hospital collapsing into billowing clouds of smoke and debris. We didn't fall with it. The clouds of dust puffed up at us. Slowly, getting a feel for the flying contraption, I turned us towards Maripony and the Sky Bandit. After everything that had come before, there was nothing I could do. Zenith was brewing a potion, using a mix of her own supplies and the chemicals we had just gathered. I could smell the odd scents coming from the pot she held over the cook fire. Zenith told us this would augment Velvet Remedy's own healing, allowing her leg to fully and properly heal once it was reattached. It would also permanently alter her, much like previous brews had altered me. Somehow, while such enhancements should be viewed as a gift, this felt like a sacrifice. a final step in severing Velvet Remedy from who she was before. After this, she really wouldn't be the same pony anymore.
Don't get so melodramatic about
refused
it.
to leave Velvet
I
Remedy's
would
side
take
the entire
augmentations
time I had
in a
spent
heartbeat.
reprogramming the medical
That'd be
bot.
cool.
While I was at it, I'll admit that I changed the robot's name. Considering what his next operation would be, I didn't feel Sawbones was particularly appropriate. Now, it was up to the medical bot and Velvet Remedy to treat both her and Calamity. I could only sit back and watch, and I didn't think I could bear to do that. We were, for the moment, safe. The Alicorns were creating a perimeter around Maripony, and the Hellhounds seemed to be taking the rest of the night off. I pulled up my Pitbuck's inventory sorting spell, looking for the memory orb I had found in the hospital. I was shocked to find a tin of Party Time Mintals amongst my supplies. For a moment, I couldn't remember how it had gotten there. I ordered the inventory sorter spell to bury it at the bottom of my saddlebags. The little pony in my head, once an advocate of keeping them, now nickered at me in disappointment. Stupid, inconsistent little pony. I floated out the orb, laying it on a chunk of rubble in front of me. Then quickly I captured it again as it started to roll. Finding a better place to set it, I focused directly on the orb with my magic. The world melted away. The world smelled of scented lotion.
Like, again, I can't get over how lucky Little Pip is that these things don't make you feel the emotions of the pony, nor hear their thoughts. Because, like, that would be not personality destroying, but personality warping. Again, it's like the Animus from Assassin's Creed. You're actually feeling, at least from what I got in the second game, you're actually feeling and thinking what the person you're, I guess, viewing through. Because, again, like, our personalities are largely based on our memories, our thoughts, our emotions. But if you could feel what another person is feeling, if you could think what the other person was thinking, your personality, as you are now, would warp and change. You wouldn't be that other person because you would still have your own feelings and thoughts, but you would basically be someone new. It's kind of like fusion from Steven Universe. You're fusing two different personalities together to create someone new. So, like, all I can think is, like, Lil Pip, you're so lucky that those don't give you the feelings or thoughts of the ponies you're viewing. Because, goddamn, by this point, you would be some hideous amalgamation of 1,000 different ponies. Oh, you lucky bitch.
Lotions and effervescent fragrances. The floor beneath me was comfortable. My flanks lounged into plush carpeting. I felt warmth and weight pressed against me from the mare wrapped in my forelegs. Her tears soaked into my coat over my breast. I could hear the pony crying, and behind that, soft, tinkling music from somewhere up above. And in the other room, a familiar mare's voice was saying,
I mean, that's wonderful news, right? Why don't you sound happy?
The pony in my forelegs had the gentlest yellow coat, a flowing pink mane, and was Fluttershy.
But I do deserve it.
Fluttershy mumbled against my breast, her body hitching with sobs.
I...
The legs holding Fluttershy had an elegant white coat that was getting mussed, and I was Rarity. Rarity felt weak from barely contained sadness, an exhaustion I knew all too well.
Wait. Okay, hold on. The previous orbs didn't give them the feeling. Because Little Pip talks about that. She talked in a previous chapter about, she basically expressed what I expressed. Like, yeah, I wonder what it'd be like if I could feel what the pony was feeling. But Lil Pip in this orb just mentioned how she felt Rarity's sadness. That means two things. Either, one, this is a minor plot hole K-Cat forgot. Two, this is a different orb. And it's like a more advanced one that you can feel the feelings of. Three, Little Pip actually can feel stuff from the orbs. And she's unknowingly become amalgamation of multiple personalities all coming together to form a new one. Oh, I like the third one. Because it's got just enough creep factor, yet it's still kind of cool. Because, like, that would kind of explain things. I mean, Little Pip, think about the start of the story. Little Pip was just a little, like, just pretty much a kid. And she was a maintenance worker. You know, she never shot a gun in her life. And yet, somehow, she's been able to come all this way and be all this stuff. I mean, possible, yes. But at the same time, she's done a lot of orbs. She's viewed a lot of orbs. So what if, on a subconscious level, she could feel the emotions and thoughts of the ponies? And the Little Pip at the start of the story no longer exists, because the one we're reading about is actually an amalgamation of personalities creating an entirely new pony that thinks they're Little Pip. And, you know, Little Pip is the dominant thought process. Oh, I like that theory.
Her eyes burned on the edge of tears, but she was holding them back, remaining strong for the yellow Pegasus in her embrace. Fluttershy wailed meekly.
I am a traitor. I don't believe that,
I heard my host say gently.
Rainbow Dash was.
Fluttershy turned her face up to me, her eyes overflowing with tears.
Rarity, I gave mega spells to the zebras.
I felt my host tense, her eyes growing wide. But still, she didn't let Fluttershy go. She held her, her voice shocked but her tone non-judgmental as she asked.
And why would you do that?
Fluttershy gave a wretched squeak as I felt Rarity tense. Her expression told me she expected to be rejected, pushed away, maybe worse. But there was a tone of resolve in her voice when she answered.
To stop the war.
Rarity shook her head.
How? You remember the test. I have healing spells that mega spells let heal almost anything. Zebras have potions that allow them to regenerate wounds, and a mega spell will make their whole army like that. Have you seen Twilight's new shield spell? A mega spell shield could protect a whole city.
Fluttershy looked at her unicorn friend, fierce determination shining behind those large eyes that were swimming in tears.
If both sides had mega spells, we wouldn't be able to kill each other anymore. They'd have to stop fighting.
I felt Rarity shudder, a knot forming in her throat. The tears she had been holding back began to flow. She knew, I could tell, that such was not the way either side would use this gift.
Oh, Fluttershy.
As the first tear raced down her right cheek, Rarity leaned forward, brushing aside the flowing pink mane that obscured most of Fluttershy's face, and planted a kiss on the Pegasus pony's forehead.
You always were the best of us.
She hugged the Pegasus tighter.
Never ever regret what you've done, darling.
No!
She held
Fuck
Fluttershy's
you!
head
Regret
against her
that
breast so the
shit!
Pegasus could not see her weeping. In the background, I could hear the other voice saying,
What? Oh no, my sister's fine. Where?
I recognized the voice of Sweetie Belle now.
We're at that spa in Leaf Fall Lane. Rarity's been here all afternoon trying to get Fluttershy to stop crying.
Fluttershy shuddered, whimpering.
Rarity, I can't breathe.
Her meek, hesitant tone suggested she'd accept it if Rarity just kept squeezing her. Rarity, however, let go of her quickly.
Oh, Fluttershy, I'm so sorry.
She got up, quickly turning away before the Pegasus could see her tears.
I need to freshen up a bit.
God, I hate this non-confrontive, oh, you fucked up, but, like, don't regret it, and I'm not going to let you see how much you fucked me up, too. I hate that shit. I hate it. No, she needs to know she fucked up, and she needs to know how badly she fucked up to you, so, like, you all can start working on this shit. Like, get this out of the way now, so you can fix it next. Oh, you fucking ponies.
Will you be okay until I get back?
Fluttershy squeaked, but nodded. My host trotted quickly to the little mare's room. On the way, she passed an anxious-looking spa pony. Stopping, Rarity whispered,
Remember, you're closed. I'm very sorry, and the Ministry of Image will pay you triple your lost earnings, but we really can't be disturbed right now.
Before the spa pony could respond, Rarity nearly galloped the rest of the way, pushing through the door to the ladies' room. As the door swung shut behind her, I could hear Sweetie Belle saying,
Fluttershy says Rainbow Dash called her a traitor.
Rarity's nerves felt fried. She was shedding tears, and it was making it difficult to see, but the sight of her in the mirror looking sad and terrified. Her horn was glowing, and something floated out of her side purse. She wiped...
Wait, I just got another thing. Okay, just a bit ago, Lil Pip said, like, Rarity knew... Like, was she actually feeling Rarity's thoughts? Are we having personality bleed over? Oh, I love personality bleed over in stories. It's so weird. It's so fucking weird. I love it.
Wiped her eyes with a forehoof to better see the framed picture. It was the ministry mares, all together, looking much younger, maybe my age. They were looking disheveled but happy, wearing once elegant dresses that appeared to have been worn through a wrestling match. There was Spike, too, but not Spike as I had ever known or imagined him. Baby Spike. They were all gathered around a round table, covered in what looked like donut crumbs.
I don't think I can take this anymore. I was nothing before you. You're the best friends a pony could have. The best ponies ever.
Rarity choked up.
And it feels like I'm losing all of you.
Rarity's whole body shuddered. She looked up at the mirror and was shocked by what she saw. Turning on the sink, she splashed water onto her face and tried to wash away any trace of her sadness. Looking back up, she drew herself tall.
Stop feeling sorry for yourself, Rarity. Fluttershy needs you more.
Her horn glowed again, opening her purse and lifting up the picture. The door pushed open. Rarity turned, a natural-looking smile already forced onto her muzzle. Her eyes widened upon seeing Sweetie Belle looking mournful.
Sis, I'm sorry to interrupt, but... Yes?
Rarity said with hopeful cheer I know she didn't feel.
Applejack's been in an accident.
I could feel Rarity's body tense.
An accident? Is she all right? She's in a coma, but the doctors say she'll recover.
Sweetie Belle told her sister regretfully. At the word coma, Rarity's magic imploded, the framed picture dropping to the floor with a clatter.
Applebloom says Twilight Sparkle's on her way to see him. She wants to know if you and Fluttershy can come see Applejack, too.
Rarity swayed. Forcing her voice not to waver, she informed her little sister.
Oh, man, is Rarity going to have a panic attack or maybe a heart attack? Oh, shit.
Of course we will. Fluttershy and I will head to Manhattan right away.
She gave her sister a smile.
And will you be coming, too?
Sweetie Belle nodded.
I've already made arrangements. There's a train leaving in an hour.
The young unicorn slipped back out, closing the door behind her.
I'll see you there.
The moment Rarity was alone again, the unusually elegant unicorn swayed on the verge of fainting. As she braced herself against the sink, her eyes fell to the picture on the floor. A slight crack ran down the glass, separating Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy from Rainbow Dash and Twilight Sparkle. The unicorn mare whimpered softly, her magic wrapped around the picture as she tucked it back into her purse, then drew out a familiar headset. She touched her hoof to an earbloom. Rarity turned to the mirror, looking at herself. A look of sad determination crossed her face. A voice crackled over the earbloom. Hello? Ministry of Image, Mistress Rarity's office.
This is Rarity. Contact the Ministry's top magician. Tell him I've changed my mind and I will need his services on that special project after all.
The trip back was a long and occasionally eventful one, but it was only in looking back on it afterwards that things became strange. Calamity's wing had mended beautifully, but at our insistence he made regular stops to rest. Velvet Remedy fared both better and worse. Her foreleg was encased in a thick, rigid cast that prevented her from walking. She was extremely weak and in dire need of rest and recovery.
Velvet, go to sleep,
Zenith intoned, carefully using our unicorn companion's name.
Breath of the Phoenix takes time to do its work.
Goddesses, Velvet, I chimed in. You're worse than, well, all of us when you give us medical ponies orders. Velvet Remedy ignored us. Instead,
Okay, I'm cutting it off there. We're at the 30-minute mark. Fucking Rarity. God damn it. Now you're getting into necromancy. And not even cool necromancy with skeleton legions and shit, but you're getting into the shitty necromancy with soul jars and stuff. Okay, Rarity, if you're going to be a necromancer, you got to stick to the classic stuff because that's what everyone loves. Okay, people love skeleton armies. Okay, they're cool. People like, dark robes and shit because, like, as much as we make fun of golf stuff, it's kind of cool. So you need to stick with that. Don't become Voldemort, okay?